Welcome back. You have to excuse me, I lost the remote for my phone and I had to do a few notes for this video. So, my name's Jeremy and I am new to this online channel for YouTube, so bear with me a little bit. But today I want to talk about something completely different, completely separate from what my intention for this channel was, to a degree. So, if you haven't watched any of my videos, just a very short, brief summary. I live in Missouri, and I was diagnosed with a rare neurological disorder that causes a lot of issues in my life, a lot of pain, and a lot of having to learn how to do life differently. I haven't been able to walk for the last 2 years, and I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. I should say a follower of Jesus, because Christian is a really broad term for this day and age, and there's a lot of people that go to church and call themselves Christians that probably won't make it to heaven. But what I want to talk to you about today is a religion that I found myself involved in about 20 years ago. And the reason I want to talk about it is because it's still a religion that exists today that most likely you've never heard of, as I had never heard of it. But Satan can appear as light. Satan can appear as a good thing. There are many religions around the world that don't cause harm, per se. Maybe think of a Buddhist who seems very peaceful. And this religion is something similar to that. But Satan can appear as light. Anything, any person, any religion, anybody that says anything other than that Jesus Christ is the only way to get to heaven, and that's it. It may not seem fair, but we are not God. And I can tell you with assurance, with many supernatural experiences, that I know for myself this is the truth. And this religion, how I came upon it, was by some very out of the ordinary experiences for me, and probably for many people. So, about 20 years ago, I was searching for God. I had just gotten clean. I was addicted to pain pills. I'd had a lot of surgeries. And I was in a treatment facility, inpatient, for 6 months. Maybe a month or so into the treatment, I started to have what, sorry, you might see me mess with this heating pad or an ice pack, but I started having lucid dreams. Lucid dreams, if you've never heard of them or if you've never had one, are when you're dreaming and then you wake up in the dream. You realize that, oh my gosh, I'm dreaming. I can fly in my dreams. This is really cool. I know I'm going to wake up and be in my bed, but right now I'm dreaming. And I knew that I knew that in each dream that I had, that I was going to wake up fairly soon. And for whatever reason, I saw other people, started talking to them. I would always ask them, do you know I'm dreaming? And it was just very bizarre. So when I was 18 and when I was a senior in high school, I was in a car accident. I was driving. My best friend was killed. Her name was Shauna. That was really actually what set me off into active addiction, because I just became a very cold person, and I just was not any good for anybody for a number of years. But I mention that because I had a dream about her. Actually, I had a couple of dreams about her, and in the very first one, I was flying in this dream. I don't know if this was true or not. I don't know if it was real or not. I, but I believe that this one was, and the reason I say that is because there are some experiences that I had in my dreams that I believe God allowed me to experience in order to prove that He was legitimately real for me. And I think this was one of them because in this dream, I was flying over a field, and I've seen a lot of near-death experiences on YouTube. I've got very interested in them in this last year, just curious of what people went through, and I have my own opinions on those. But that's probably for another episode. But they talk about the colors that they see, the sounds that they hear, the music, the imagery is so much more than you could experience in our world. And in my experience in that dream, I was flying over a field of grass and flowers, and it was the brightest green. I don't remember what colors. I think they were yellow, but I think they were lilies. But I was flying over this, and I knew I was dreaming. I was flying. I looked down, and I saw her down on the ground with some other people, and I kind of flew down to the ground. I couldn't see myself, but I was there in my conscience. And it wasn't like talking out loud, but it was like telepathy in the mind. And I just remember saying to her in my mind, or her asking me, "What am I doing there?" And I said, "I don't know, I'm dreaming, but I'm here." And I said, "I'm so sorry, you know." And she was like, "It's okay, it was a terrible accident. I'm okay." We talked about a few other things, mainly just because I felt bad about the accident. But at the end of it, she said, "I've got to go. You can't go where I'm going, but you're going to wake up and be just fine." And I did. I woke up and I was just fine. And that was weird to me. And then I had another dream about her. So I got on the internet and started Googling things about dreams because it literally was exhausting. There were many of these dreams, not with her, but many of these lucid dreams involving other people. And one night I had this dream where I was in an old apartment of mine. Nothing was going on in a dream, but there was a woman that was sitting on a couch, and again I knew I was dreaming. The woman was beautiful. She was tall, blonde hair, short, just beautiful. But she just looked at me, and I knew I was dreaming. I didn't understand what was going on, but I woke up, and I really didn't think much of it. But I got on the internet, and this was in 2006, I believe. So the internet was not new, but not like it is today. But there was still a lot of information out there. I happened to run across this website called, or about a religion called Eckankar, Eckankar. They believe in spirit guides. They believe in reincarnation. They believe in. I'll tell you a little bit more about it in a minute. But I read about this Eckankar, and I scrolled down, and there was a picture of a spirit guide. I'm not even going to say her name because I don't want to give any credit to anything demonic. I'm just not going to say her name. But it was her. It was the person I had just dreamt about a few nights before. And I was, well, at the time I was excited. I was ecstatic because imagine if you dreamt about somebody and then you saw them on the internet. But it gets much deeper than this. There was a woman that was at the center with me. She was older than me. And she was like, "Yeah, that's this religion, Eckankar. My boyfriend goes to it." I was living in Lincoln, Nebraska, and apparently they had, or not apparently, they had a group that met there. They are in all 50 states. They're also all around the world. So they're not completely unknown, but most probably have never heard of them. So anyway, I went to this group with her. They met on a Saturday, and the other thing was that a few nights after I read about this woman on this whatever she is, probably a demon, I would say, on the internet, I dreamt about her again. And in that dream, I was flying. I wound up, I found out if I fly in the light, I can wind up somewhere. And if I flew into the dark, that could also take me into some bad places. Oh, I forgot about so much of this. Anyway, I would fly and I would wind up somewhere. And in this place, it was like a college campus. There was brick buildings. There was people all around. I'm going to explain this dream to you in vivid detail because I want you to understand the extent that Satan went to and the reason why I fell for it. So, again, I'm in this dream. There's people around, and I'm. This man comes up to me and he says, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And I said, "I don't know. I'm dreaming, but I'm here." And I said, "But I'm looking for somebody." Because on the website it said that I could find these people in my dreams, and it listed ways to do it. And I did. I put the name underneath my pillow and said I wanted to dream about them. So, anyways, I said I'm looking for this person's name, and the guy said, "Oh, okay, hang on. Where is old Bat Eyes?" I don't know why he called her Bat Eyes. And guys, I'm telling you this from a memory from 20 years ago, and I don't have it all written out. I have the dream is so intensified in my brain, I could not forget any of it, much like a near-death experience. So anyways, he said, "Where is old Bat Eyes?" And he said, "Hang on here just for a minute while I go look for her." So I was waiting for him to come back. I was by this tree, and I decided to just kind of stick my head and look around the tree and see what was around there. There was this group of people. Some of them were children, maybe at the oldest, maybe 30s, early 30s. There was this guy doing a magic trick in the middle of them. He took this dust and he threw it up into the air, and it was like gold and silver, and one turned into a moon and one turned into a star, and they like went around him. Is the best way I can describe it. Like they went around him, and it was just a magic trick that was to, I guess, to entertain these people. So, anyways, it was just really cool. And then the guy comes back and he says, "Hey, I found her. She's right over here." I follow him, and then I see her, and I locked eyes with her, and I began to just cry out. I mean, just I could not hold it back because I knew that I was dreaming. I also knew that I had previously dreamt about her, and I knew that I had read about her on the internet, and I knew I was seeing her again. And I just said, "Why is this happening?" And she said, "It's okay, you're all right. God is just allowing you to have this experience. It's going to be okay." So we went and we sat down by this water fountain and we talked. And at the time I had a lot of anger towards my mother. We talked about my mom. We talked about some other things. But just like my friend Shauna had said, she said, "You're going to wake up. You're going to be just fine." And I did. I woke up and I was just fine. I had a lot of other dream experiences that I'm not going to go into detail, but I'm going to say I kept a journal of it. I don't know where that journal is off the top of my head. I think I still have it. But I kept a journal every night or every morning when these dreams would come on because they were so intense. In fact, it got so intense, I prayed that God would please stop it and slow it down. It was amazing, and yet it was terrifying, and I didn't know what was going on. But I went to meet with these people. And these people that went to this group, we met on a Saturday. I don't know why I keep using my hands like this. We met on a Saturday, and these people were smart, educated, professional people that were meeting together essentially to tell the other person, "You're not crazy. I dream about them too. There has to be something real to this. There's no way this isn't real." And that's what I thought, because it's just, you would not even question it if you did not. Let me take that back. If I was a true believer and I really had faith in Christ, I would have known immediately this was counterfeit. But I had church knowledge. I grew up going to church. I was even a Sunday school teacher for a short period of time, but I did not fully believe it. And at this time in my life, I was also searching for God. I was looking at Buddhists. I was looking at other religions because I really wanted to know who God was. And so these people, we would go and eat lunch and stuff after the meeting was over, and they were really kind. This one couple especially, they came and picked me up. They'd bring me back. After I got on my feet, after the treatment program, I got my own apartment and job, and etc. And they helped me with artwork. They were really rich people, but they had helped me with a lot of stuff. And they were just around. Well, this was the other thing. It completely played into my ego. Because I had these dreams, and because they knew I was having these dreams, they looked at me as if they made it clear to me that this was really rare. This really rarely happens. And because I also had dreamt of one other male, what they would say spirit guide, and maybe a third one, but The second one I definitely remember. But so they were putting me on a pedestal, and I'm not a Christian. I just got off drugs 6 months ago. I've got my own place. Of course, I'm gonna eat that up because who wouldn't? And I can't remember how long I went. I went for a while. So let me tell you a little about religion. Eckankar. It was founded in 1965 by a guy named Paul Twitchell. Its headquarters is in Minnesota. There is what they call their most current living Ek master. His name is Harold Klemp. They believe in reincarnation, and when they gather together, they sing this sound. It's one syllable, and I'm not going to say the name of the sound or how to even do that, because every night back then I would part of the at home exercise, or the way that they pray, kind of a thing, is that you lay down, you meditate at night while you're going to bed, you say this sound out loud, you sing it, and in the group you're singing it with different harmonies, or but that had something to do with the dreams. I believe the first one was real with Shauna. But so they believe in soul travel, they believe in astral projection, and that's what they said I was doing, was astral projection. And only I wasn't trying to do it, it was just happening. There are people that you can look up astral projection and soul travel, and there are people that study this their whole lives just to try to do it. And there's ways that they recommend doing it and whatnot. But so I don't know, I want to say maybe a year that I was going regularly, and then I stayed in contact with them when I stopped going. But what happened that got, how much time am I going here? 17 minutes. Okay. What happened when what got me out of it, and this is interesting and very important to understand. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I wanted to mention about that, but no. What brought me out of that was Jesus. Maybe. Actually, no. This is how good Satan is, and also how he can come appear as a beam of light. I had a dream where, I'm trying to figure out where the camera is to look you in the face or in the eyes. I had a dream, another flying dream, another dream where I wound up at some place. In this dream, as I was flying, Jesus came up to me in the dream and was flying with me. It wasn't your stereotypical picture of Jesus that you see, but I knew it was Jesus in the dream. And we came down to the ground, and it's just like any of the other things. It was telepathy. It wasn't talking out loud. We went into this room where there was a bunch of people clapping and praising God, singing gospel music. We went into the back corner of this room, and there was this big black woman in the middle, in a chair. Jesus was on one side, I was on the other. In the dream, I understood that this black woman represented God. And for quite a while, I thought that, because I know that God can represent himself in any way he wants to. He's a spirit. He takes human form. People may think of him as an older grandpa or Santa Claus looking older guy, whatever. I just thought he was coming across to me in a way that I was comfortable with. And there's a real legitimate reason for that, but I don't. I'm going to talk about this on another episode. When I was a child, from the ages of about 4 to 12, I went through some very extreme abuse. During that time, I would have dreams to where I would be caught up into the clouds. I would be walking. I met a big black woman in those clouds. We talked. We had an ongoing dialogue. We remembered what we talked about. As I got older, she got older. It's how God got me through the extreme abuse. I don't know that that was God. It could have been an angel. I don't know. But I think that's why years later, and I'll explain that in more detail in a different video, I think that was part of this. And it was Satan's strategy. I believe that when I was a child, that was God. I believe that in this dream about Jesus, God was using, or Satan was using that experience because he thought that I would believe this was God. Okay, so I'm talking to Jesus with this black lady there, and I said, Jesus, I said, I don't know if you're real. I don't know what to believe. I said, but I need to know. And I said, I've done all these things wrong. I've stolen things. I believe that I'm gay. And what I was told in a dream through the person that was represented as Jesus, and this is the lie, and it's a half-truth. It's a lie with a half-truth, which is one of the ways Satan's easiest deceptions. Just like with homosexuality, you're born that way. Yeah, you're born that way. You have to be reborn to be a Christian. Obviously, God also delivered me out of homosexuality. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. If you don't know who I am. Okay, it said, there are many places that you can go when you leave this earth. They are not all bad places. Lie. But if you want to go to heaven that the Bible talks about, I'm the only way to get there. Truth. He said I could go to other places and they're not bad places. That's absolutely a lie. But he did tell half the truth when he said that Jesus was the only way to get there. And I thought at the time it really was Jesus. And so, when the Bible says in Galatians, I think it's 8:28, I don't know, I can't remember for sure, but that God will turn all things around for the good of those that are called, that he loves, that are called, that according to his purpose. Satan meant it for evil. God turned it around for good because it did make me believe that Jesus was truly the Son of God. I did not get saved at that point. In fact, about 16 years later is whenever I got saved. I was not done with my addiction. I was not done with... I didn't even have a clue that homosexuality was not who I was. That was who I identified with. But I really wanted to share this video, and I encourage you to share it because you've probably never heard of it. Your friends may not have either. But there are people that are in this religion. And the crazy thing is also, I just recently, in the last 2 years, 3 years, have seen commercials for it on television. And the first time I saw it, it really spooked me because I'd never heard anybody mention that name of that religion. Just never had. So it's important that people understand the truth because there's a lot of people being deceived. Not just with this religion and a lot of different religions around the world. So, that was a lot of information. Something I have not talked about to anybody because most people would think I'm crazy to begin with. They're going to write it off as a nutcase probably, but I hope you're watching until the end. If you did, I thank you. I think if you hit subscribe and like, it will cause it to get played more. I don't know. I would never monetize this account. I highly doubt I'm going to get 500,000 people or whatever it takes. But it is important for me that it gets shared as much as possible, as well as the video of coming out of homosexuality. A lot of the other videos, or the 2 other videos I've made, is about the condition I've got. I don't want to be transparent about it. I'm doing much better. Once again, Jesus, 2 days ago, you guys, for 2 weeks before that, I had the most intense pain I've ever had. Ever. And I deal with really bad pain. This was, unbelievable. And it came with suicidal thoughts and a lot of fear. And I had to fight those. But a couple days ago, and I had been praying for God's perspective and a lot. I'm praying, but nothing has changed in my circumstances and the pain and any of it. And at the same time, everything has changed in my circumstances and all of it. Because Jesus, for one, he gave me purpose, which is why I'm creating these videos. He had been trying to get me to for the last few years and to write a book or to give my testimony, and I ignored it. I put it off. Different reasons. But it motivated me because it gives purpose for the pain. I have nothing but time on my hands. I barely can walk. I can only be in my power chair for about 5 to 10 minutes at the most before I have to sit back down. It's too painful. I can't do physical. I'm just stuck right now. My neck needs surgery. I'm sure quite badly, unrelated to the disease. I've had 2 neck fusions and it's really messed up right now. I had a fall. So I was battling suicidal thoughts to the point that I don't know. And I think to myself, God, what if I would have given up one day before that happened? So many people give up right before the miracle happens. And I know that my pain's not done with, but I know He can take it if He wants to take it. He controls it. He's sovereign over it. And I believe that if I will use this as a platform to be a vessel, there's nothing else I could ask for or want more. You know, I don't really have anything in this life that I'm looking forward to. This condition makes life very miserable. But I have joy deep inside and peace deep inside. And if I will walk in obedience, right now I need to quit smoking. There's things that are not in line yet with His will, but He's making them happen. I'm praying the faith to have the faith. Okay, I'm rambling on now. I hope that this video is informative, and I apologize for rambling and just going on, but I just want to let people know that I am doing so much better. And I am going to create another video, so you'll see me with the same shirt on, but I'm going to talk about the first chapter of 2 Corinthians, because it has all to do with about suffering and about comfort. I stumbled upon it last night. I didn't know that's what it was about. And there, again, it spoke right to my need. God bless you guys. Have a great day. Be safe.